right, we are here at the Retro Museum exhibit here at the Canadian Museum of History. So we're going to get to see a bunch of exhibits about the 60s, 70s, and 80s music from Canadian musicians. So, popular music exploded in Canada during the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Popular music isn't just one style or genre, and it goes far beyond the top 40. It is something we listen to, move to, and identify with. It transports us to different places and times. It is social, personal, and political, sometimes all at once. All right. So there's a huge exhibit that we can explore here. I'm excited to be here. I've been wanting to see this all year, and I finally made it. All right, so check this out. So this radio could be worn around the wrist or carried like a small tote. It swivels open into an S shape, revealing the tuning dial inside. Do any of you remember seeing this? I do. When I was a kid, I remember these. So in the early 1960s, a band called Dino et les Questions was formed in Rouyn-Noranda, a mining town in northern Quebec. The group became Caesar et les Romains in 1965 and gained attention with its playful onstage look, which included Roman tunics and gladiator sandals. This is before my time. This is the first I'm hearing of them. Here's a little short video. Right, so let's see what else we can find in here. Oh, well, everybody's heard of the infamous Celine Dion. Look at this beautiful outfit. So Celine Dion gained international attention as a teenager in the 1980s. Winning awards in Quebec, France, and Japan, her 1987 album Incognito sold 200,000 copies in Quebec alone. In 1988, Dion won the Eurovision Song Contest as Switzerland's representative with the song Ne partez pas sans moi. Within 2 days, it had sold 200,000 copies in Europe. Soon after, her first English hit, Where Does My Heart Beat Now, made the top 5 in the US. So in 1970, the Transcontinental Pop Festival brought musicians from English and French Canada together with big-name American artists for a cross-Canada tour. They traveled by train on the Festival Express, making stops in Toronto, Winnipeg, and Calgary. The band Robert Charlebois, Ian and Sylvia with Great Speckled Bird and Mash Machan were among those who partied, jammed, and created new sounds along the way. Oh, look at this. It's a guitar case. So this is Tom Lavin's Million Mile guitar case. Tom Lavin used this case for more than 30 years while playing with the Powder Blues. It bears the signs of his extensive travels, including tours in Europe and Russia. How cool is that? So this is Robbie Robertson's guitar. Robbie Robertson played the guitar on Old Time Religion in the band concert film The Last Waltz. He is also pictured with it on the cover of the Basement Tapes. Here's a picture. So, Figgy Duff poster, limited edition silk screen poster for Newfoundland folk rock innovators Figgy Duff. All right, right ahead. Everybody's heard of Rush. So Rush was formed in the Toronto suburb of Willowdale in 1968. The power trio of Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, and Neil Peart went on to become one of the best-selling rock bands in history. The members of Rush have been called the godfathers of progressive hard rock. They are celebrated by their technical mastery, epic instrumental suites, and spectacular stage performances. Rush's carefully crafted lyrics explore fantasy and futuristic themes, question conformity, and champion the underdog. Here is the picture of them in England in 1978. So this is Neil Peart's drumhead. Neil Peart used this drumhead in his early years with Rush. So they do have different stations where you can listen to music. So here's one where you could listen carefully to the complex layers of musical details that made Rush's sound so unique. So you just press the button, and there are headphones. So this is Geddy Lee's double neck electric bass guitar. This double neck features prominently in Rush's work through the late 1970s, including in the band's 1977 epic Xanadu. Okay, here's a station where you can listen to Xanadu. Again, you just press the button and you can listen in the headphones. Right. And lastly, Alex Lifeson's double neck electric guitar. Alex Lifeson played this guitar in Xanadu from A Farewell to Kings. He played the guitar until 1982 and then again during the 1994 Counterparts tour. So, Offenbach. Offenbach was one of Quebec's most popular acts in the 1970s and 80s, known for its progressive blues rock sound. The band was among the first to successfully adapt an American hard rock style in the French language. The band's success extended to Europe, where it performed in France, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Switzerland. Back home, Offenbach was the first Quebec band to headline at the Montreal Forum. Oh, so here's a really cool display of a trooper. So Diane Dufresne is celebrated for her theatrical strength, musical sensitivity, and provocative style. Check out those boots, they're pretty spectacular. With success in Quebec and France, she had been described as the first female francophone rocker. La Diva has sold out stadiums, amazing fans with her powerful vocal ability and stage presence. Her 1972 debut album, Tiens-toi bien j'arrive, spent 6 weeks at the top of the charts in Quebec. Oh, okay. Another famous Canadian musicians are Trooper. Trooper was formed in the early 1970s. By the end of the decade, the Vancouver rock band was packing arenas across Canada. Trooper took its stage presence seriously. Along with lights, the band's high-energy shows included pyrotechnics. Trooper won the 1980 Juno Award for Group of the Year. Many of the band's rock anthems, such as Raise a Little Hell and Two for the Show, remain well known across Canada. So if you look at this outfit right here that he wore in 1975, and they have it here on display. How cool is that? So we've got some more awesome displays here. So everybody's heard of April Wine, I'm sure. April Wine was formed in Halifax in 1969. By 1970, it was recording its debut album for Aquarius Records in Montreal. The multi-platinum band is known for its guitar-driven rock, lyrical power ballads, and dramatic stage shows. April Wine had a rigorous commitment to live performance, which made its members exceptional arena rockers. They drew crowds in small and large centers, both across Canada and internationally. So, and here is the guitar from April Wine. So Gino Vanelli, Montreal-born Gino Vanelli is a pop and disco superstar. He is known for his passionate music and dynamic on-stage performances. Vanelli was one of the first non-black artists to perform on the popular American program Soul Train. His album, Brother to Brother, which featured the 1978 hit I Just Want to Stop, sold more than 100,000 copies in Canada and 1 million copies in the US. Let's explore what else we can find in here. So Pierre Perpal, also known as Purple Flash, is a dynamic pop, disco, and dance pioneer who emerged in the 1960s. He was one of the first black artists to appear on music television in Quebec. His hits in French and English include J'aime danser avec toi, We Can Make It, and Keep Doing That Thing. Toulouse was a wildly successful bilingual all-girl disco group. Formed in Montreal in 1975, the group released 6 albums in the decade that followed. Toulouse won a Felix Award for Best Disco Album in 1979. The group also starred in its own television show, Toulouse Extra, from 1980 to 1981. Here is a picture of Toulouse. So here There's a whole slew of fun albums. I Remember Glass Tiger. So you can just flip through. There's the infamous Celine Dion, Edith Butler. Oh, I remember Lee Aaron. Let's see what else we can find. And oh, my absolute favorite Canadian band of all time, the Tragically Hip. And more. There's tons that you can explore here. Right. Oh. Well, you can't not stop and look at this one. John Kay and Steppenwolf. John Kay immigrated to Canada as a teenager in 1958. Active in Toronto's Yorkville scene, he played with a blues rock band called the Sparrow. Kay later moved to California, where he became lead singer for Steppenwolf, one of North America's best-known hard rock bands. Steppenwolf's music, with its edgy sound, emerged from the counterculture of the late 1960s. The era is also reflected in the band's lyrics, which address contemporary issues such as the environment, politics, and war. This is a cool display. Oh, here's another infamous Canadian musician, Anne Murray. I'm sure you all remember her. So born in Spring Hill, Nova Scotia, Anne Murray is one of Canada's most acclaimed singers. Her crossover sound, combining pop, country, and adult contemporary, has had an enormous impact both nationally and internationally. Murray has sold more than 55 million albums and has received numerous awards, including more Junos than any other artist as of 2024. She broke ground as a female artist, embracing her rural maritime roots while forging a major international career. Right, let's see what else we can find. Oh, wow. The Guess Who. Check out this cool guitar. So, American and British bands dominated the English airwaves in the 1960s, making it hard for Canadian groups to get radio play. Winnipeg's Chad Allen and The Expressions found a creative solution. They released their cover of Shakin' All Over under the name Guess Who, encouraging the idea that they might be a British band in disguise. It worked. The song reached #1 in Canada. By 1970, the Guess Who had made original hits, including American Woman, which topped the Billboard Hot 100 that year. Jay Cougar and the Cougars. Oh, sorry, Jay Douglas and the Cougars. Check out this suit and the shoes. So Jay Douglas came to Canada from the West Indies in 1963. The Jamaican-Canadian artist soon became lead singer of the Cougars, a dynamic Toronto R&B band. The Cougars navigated Toronto's conservative music scene, gaining attention through their perseverance and electrifying live performances. They had a regular gig at the now legendary Le Coq d'Or Tavern in downtown Toronto and toured extensively throughout Ontario and Quebec.
Mais il n'y a pas une affaire, une table qu'on peut faire de la musique? Non, ici c'est juste pour voir comme
The Squires. The Squires were one of Neil Young's earliest musical projects. I did not know that. Although its members were still in high school, the Winnipeg band gained a large local following in the early 1960s. They performed at community centers, church halls, high schools, and music clubs. The Squires played cover songs, but also performed original music, including the rock tracks on their only recorded single. Here's a really nice tux, and it belongs to Pierre Lalonde. Pierre Lalonde was one of the biggest stars in the history of popular music in Quebec. The charismatic singer and actor captured the exuberance of the 1960s youth culture through his albums and as the host of music shows such as Jeunesse d'aujourd'hui and Jeunesse oblige. Lalonde connected with a wide audience. He was also the face of many game shows, variety shows, and pageants across French and English Canada. Wow, check out that award. So Michel Richard rose to fame as a yeye star in the 1960s. This Quebec music and style icon projected a modern image that appealed to young audiences. Her popularity reflected Quebec's strong and growing celebrity culture, which included music-centered television shows, magazines, and newspapers, as well as a popular music awards system. These kind of funny to think of some of these things that were popular in our childhood are now considered vintage artifacts in museums. But here we are. Pioneer radio and tape recorder player. Portable stereos like this made it possible to take group listening from the living room into the street. I definitely had one of these when I was a kid. So, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, sound technologies empowered people to choose and listen to music on their own terms. Popular music became more affordable, accessible, and shareable. Radios became even smaller, making it possible to listen on the go. Budget-friendly vinyl singles also remained popular, allowing people to buy and share the latest hits. Portable cassettes players combined both access and mobility, providing the ultimate personal experience. So, do any of these things look familiar to your childhood days? So this is a Clairtone mini hi-fi radio known for its modern approach to electronic design. Clairtone promoted this as the world's smallest transistor radio. All right, well, I definitely remember having a Walkman when I was a kid with cassettes. So this is a Fleetwood 8-track player. This portable 8-track player was sometimes referred to as the Spaceball. I don't remember this, but I definitely remember hearing of 8 tracks. And then the Panasonic RXS35 portable cassette player and radio. This portable radio and cassette player allowed people to listen to their own mix anywhere. All right, so there's another huge display over here. Wow, check out this Montreal Canadiens sparkly sweater. Robert Charlebois. Robert Charlebois' early music was closely linked to the chansonnier style of the 1950s and 60s. By the late 1960s, Charlebois rocked the boat in ways that profoundly impacted popular music in Quebec. Like Bob Dylan, he went electric. He also drew upon popular language incorporating profanity and Quebecois expressions in his lyrics. Some of his best-known works are collaborations with artists such as Muffet, Regent Duchamp, Claude Péloquin, and Louis Forestier. Charlebois' inventive approach to sound and music remains influential to this day. Oh wow, check this out. This is Leonard Cohen. So Leonard Cohen was born in Montreal. Known initially for his experimental novels and poetry, he began to write and perform songs in the mid-1960s. Suzanne, for instance, was originally a poem. His lyrics are rich in imagery, and his melodic approach allows their poetry to shine. Cohen's music explores many themes, including religion, power, sexuality, and beauty. His impact as a writer, musician, and cultural icon continues to resonate in Canada and internationally. Gilles Vigneault was born in the fishing village of Natashquan, Quebec. A leader of the chansonnier movement, he performed in boîtes à chansons, coffee houses across the province. His song, Mon Pays, celebrates Quebec's natural landscape. Through metaphor, he asserts that his country is winter, while welcoming people from other seasons. This song is recognized by many as an anthem of Quebec's distinctiveness. Wow, look at this. It looks like it's made out of wood, this guitar case. I've never seen one like that. Murray McLaughlin began playing in Toronto's Yorkville coffee houses as a teenager in the mid-1960s. His free spirit, captured in his music, reflected the bohemian lifestyle associated with this scene, drawing upon stories of daily life, class struggle, and social justice. McLaughlin music combines folk, country, rock, and pop sensibilities. Okay. All right, so everybody, I assume, including myself, has definitely heard of Joni Mitchell. So Joni Mitchell emerged as a folk virtuoso in the 1960s, known for her intricate guitar work, poetic songwriting, and vocal abilities. She continued to develop and experiment in the years that followed, candidly voicing her inner worlds and personal experiences. Mitchell's lyrics address wide-ranging themes, including the passage of time, social issues, love, and loss. Blue, released in 1971, is considered one of the first confessional singer-songwriter albums. Mitchell's profound artistry continues to inspire musicians and listeners. Ian and Sylvia. So Ian Tyson and Sylvia Fricker began singing together in 1959. They went on to form one of the most celebrated folk duos of the era. Ian and Sylvia were at the forefront of the urban folk revival, penning many now iconic songs such as Four Strong Winds and You Were on My Mind. They also innovated beyond the genre recording the pioneering country rock album, Great Speckled Bird. And lastly, in this section, we've got Kate and Anna McGarrigle. So Kate and Anna were born in Montreal and grew up in Saint-Sauveur-des-Monts, Quebec. The sisters freely blended folk traditions from English and French Canada with those of the United States, playing multiple instruments. They incorporated guitar, piano, accordion, and banjo into their music. They brought their own experiences and creative voices into their work through evocative lyrics and remarkable vocal harmonies. And here is one of their guitars. All right, let's keep exploring this fantastic exhibit. We got here, so this is Jackie Shane's suit. There she is. So soul singer Jackie Shane grew up in the American South. She achieved success in the 1960s performing with Frank Motley and the Hitchhikers at nightclubs in Toronto. Shane brought incredible energy to the stage and was one of the first transgender artists to chart in Canada. Any Other Way, which indirectly references gay identity, spent several weeks at number 2 on the Chum charts in 1963. Here's her suit again. Wow. Check these out. So the Mitsu t-shirt, the Bye Bye Mon Boy, I totally remember that song from the 80s. So this t-shirt was created as tour merchandise in the 1980s. So this sweatshirt, the Guess Who sweatshirt, features the faces of the members of the Guess Who, left to right: Burton Cummings, Jim Cale, Randy Bachman, and Gary Peterson. All right, so on the right, we've got Carol Pope and Kevin Staples formed Rough Trade in 1975, innovators with close ties to Toronto art and theater scenes. They addressed then taboo themes using humor, wit, and satire. High School Confidential, for instance, was the first top 40 hit to overtly explore lesbian desire, and Pope often performed in bondage attire and other creative stage clothing. So that's pretty interesting for the 1970s. And so again, you can all throughout, either you can listen to songs by the different artists, and you can find headphones. So here again, we've got Mitsu. Mitsu's dynamic public persona evokes confidence, empowerment, and playfulness. She co-wrote and composed many of her songs. As a teenager in 1988, she crossed the French-English musical divide with her debut album, El Mundo. The album went platinum, selling 100,000 copies. Bye Bye Mon Boy became a hit in both French and English Canada, a rare feat. So the outfit that she's wearing in this picture is actually here on display. So that's pretty cool. A couple more displays here behind me before I move on. So the Wonderful Grand Band. So they were based in St. John's, Newfoundland. They first gained attention on CBC television in the late 1970s. The band achieved great success with its unique blend of original music, satire, and sketch comedy. It celebrated local customs and critiqued Premier Joey Smallwood's effort to modernize the province. The wonderful grand band's music combined traditional instruments such as the banjo and tin whistle with a rock beat, bringing local culture into the national sphere. Right, we've got one more. This guitar. So this is Cashton. Innu artists Claude Mackenzie and Florent Voilant met on the Maliotenam Reserve, located near Sept-Îles, Quebec, and began performing together as Cashton in 1984. The songs on their 1989 self-titled album were performed in Innu Aimun, a language spoken by roughly 11,000 people. Cashton sold more than 200,000 albums, bringing mainstream attention to music performed in an indigenous language. Some of the group's best known songs include E Asuin, My Childhood, and Tipat Shimin, Song of the Devil, and Tishnanu, Ourselves. Right, so there's a whole other section over here that we can still explore, so we're not even close to being done. Just to give you, I'm very impressed with the size of this exhibit. It's actually much larger than I was expecting. And I'm learning all kinds of new things about Canadian music history. So, new Canadian record labels. The Canadian music industry became viable practically overnight. CanCon policies carved out airtime for Canadian artists, increasing both exposure and demand. New independent record labels and promotional campaigns emerged to brand and sell Canadian popular music. Many artists got their start with these independent labels. So this is Bill Henderson's Mushroom Records jacket. Bill Henderson of Chilliwack received this jacket when the band was signed to Mushroom Records. Huh. I've actually never heard of Mushroom Records. One fois five. This is Claude Leveille's suit. Claude Leveille wore this velvet suit on stage for One fois five in 1976, among other performances. Wow. So this is Pauline Julien's dress. Pauline Julien was a singer, actress, and political activist and advocate for Quebec independence and women's rights. She is well known for her influential recording of the song Mommy, written by Gilles Richer and Marc Gelniez. The song evolves around a child of the future as she addresses her mother. The child describes a Quebec in which the only remaining traces of her francophone culture are the name of streets, towns, and people. Right. So let's keep going. There's all kinds Got more things to explore around here. Wow, check out this display. Guitar, glasses, awards. Junos. So, Michael Pagliaro, Quebec rocker Michael, or could be pronounced Michel, I apologize if I'm wrong, Pagliaro, or Peg, is a singer, songwriter, guitarist, and producer. He was the first artist in Canada to receive gold records for music in both French and English. Peg achieved star status with hits such as J'entends frapper and Loving You Ain't Easy. He was also an international success, performing in Europe throughout the 1970s and opening for David Bowie at Montreal's Olympic Stadium in 1987. Right. Let's keep going over here. Flyer for the Ultimate Hip Hop Battle. Music producer and DJ Ron Nelson laid the groundwork for Toronto's hip hop scene. This rap battle was held at the Concert Hall in Toronto and featured Mitchie Me. And this print ad for Jackie Mitou's Wristbone album, Jamaican ska and reggae artist Jackie Mitou moved to Toronto in 1969. The charismatic keyboardist, songwriter, and arranger expanded the styles of music heard and recorded in Canada. His album Wishbone was promoted as a first. All right, and this last one. Break Dance 84 was an influential competition held at the Spectrum in Montreal. Bringing together dancers, rappers, and other musicians, it received strong media coverage, raising the profile of hip-hop in Quebec. Originally planned as one show, Break Dance 84 grew to 13 sold-out performances. The event was hosted by DJ Michael Williams. His radio show, Club 980, was an important platform for music in Montreal. Williams went on to VJ shows such as Rap City and Soul in the City by Much Music. All right, so here's a picture of Michael Williams on stage hosting Break Dance in 84. This is a picture of Jackie Mitou in 76. And this is Ron Nelson, 1985. So here's some more interesting displays over here. So this jacket belongs to Ray Saint Germain. So dubbed Winnipeg's Elvis, Ray Saint Germain was a Métis musician, radio, DJ, television presenter, and producer. In the 1960s, he hosted CBC's Hootenanny, a youth-focused TV show. Saint Germain went on to spend 13 years with the variety series Big Sky Country. The story of L'Oreal and the Battle of Batouk, Saint Germain received the Aboriginal Order of Canada in 1985. And you can listen to his music by pressing this button. So in the early 1970s, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, CBC Northern Service, started a record label to broadcast and promote Northern artists in their own languages. Many genres and styles were represented, initially intended only for northern regions. This dynamic music was soon distributed across Canada. Ooh. All right, so we've got more interesting displays over here. Check out this music book. So this is Rita McNeil's songbook. Cape Breton singer-songwriter Rita McNeil was vocal in the women's movement during the 1970s. In songs such as Born a Woman, she called attention to the injustice of judging a woman's value based on her appearance. And here's a picture of her in 1973. Lorraine Sagato's electric guitar and strap. This was Lorraine Sagato's primary guitar for decades. She played it as a solo artist and with groups including V, or perhaps Five, Mama Killa 2, and the Parachute Club. The guitar appeared in the music video for the Parachute Club song Rise Up. Wow. So this is Bruce Cockburn's handwritten lyrics, If I Had a Rocket Launcher. That is very cool. Bruce Cockburn wrote this song after visiting a camp in Mexico for Guatemalan refugees. In response to the cruelty and devastation he saw, Cockburn called attention to people displaced by war. So here is a picture of him performing in 1984. Truth and Right's 45 RPM single, Acid Rain, was the first single released by Truth and Right's, one of Canada's earliest reggae acts. It expresses concern about the effects of acid rain, a hazardous byproduct of air pollution. I remember in school they were constantly talking about, when I was in elementary school, they were constantly talking about acid rain. So it's interesting that it made it into music. Pierre Flynn's handwritten lyrics. Pierre Flynn wrote this song in 1971. In it, he described class divisions and questions the comfort of a protected middle class cocoon. Many regard the song as an anthem for Quebec's 1970s counterculture. So here is a picture from 1974. So this is Joni Mitchell's working manuscript, Big Yellow Taxi. Now, how cool is that? Big Yellow Taxi captured the growing environmental movement with lyrics that critique urban sprawl and pesticide use. This draft shows an early version of the song's chorus with revisions to the lyrics. And here's a picture of Joni Mitchell performing in 1970. In 1969, John Lennon and Yoko Ono staged a week-long bed-in for peace at the Queen Elizabeth Hotel at Montreal. Many people joined them, including musicians, activists, religious figures, and politicians. In their hotel room, they recorded the iconic song Give Peace a Chance. The bed-in furthered Canada's reputation as a peace-loving country and a refuge for American draft dodgers. That is an incredible artifact that they have here. Wow. So here is a picture of John Lennon and Yoko Ono singing Give Peace a Chance. I absolutely love, love, love that song, with comedian and activist Tom Smothers and others in Montreal in 1969. Wow, check this out. Dress and a Juno Award that belongs to the infamous Katie Lang. So Alberta singer-songwriter Katie Lang burst onto the scene in 1984 with her first album, A Truly Western Experience. Her powerful voice, punk country style, and playful, irreverent stage presence gained immediate attention. In 1985, she received the Juno for Most Promising Female Vocalist of the Year. Playing with the idea of what it means to be a promising female, she accepted the award in a wedding dress, and cowboy boots. What a cool moment is that? So, this happened. This is Katie Lang accepting her first Juno Award, Toronto, November 4th, 1985. All right, I can't resist but show you this because it doesn't get more Canadian than this. Check out this beaver wearing a Canada flag coat. So, this is RPM Magazine beaver costume. The RPM beaver was a light-hearted mascot that promoted Canadian popular music. And so it says, I don't see the year. Oh, 1970s. So this was in the 1970s. All right, so this is before my time, because I don't remember this happening. But how, like, how funny and truly Canadian is that? Right, so I've got a whole other wall of displays to check out here. So Renegade Radio. Renegade Radio was a live weekly program devoted to Indigenous music and issues. It aired on CKLN-FM, the campus radio station at Ryerson University, which is now Toronto University. The show was hosted by Brian Wright McLeod from 1983 to 2011. There is another interesting display over here. So, rock nationalism in English Canada. The push to recognize Canadian talent gained momentum in the 1960s, notably through rock journalists at RPM Magazine. In addition to its edgy editorials and cartoons, RPM introduced Canada's first national music charts. Frustrated by the relative lack of Canadian music on the airwaves, RPM created a buzz around homegrown talent and sought to assert Canada's cultural relevance on the world stage. That is very interesting. So RPM was Canada's first weekly trade publication for popular music. It was launched as a newsletter in February 1964. 6 months later, it took on a new expanded format. Just trying to show you a bit closer. So that is definitely a super interesting part of Canadian music history. Wow, okay. So we've got a fantastic display over here. First, I'll just read you this. So indie and alternative musicians asserted their independence and played by their own rules. Rock bands in the 1980s were often encouraged to follow a mainstream path to success, conforming to trends and performing cover songs until they were recognized. Indie artists rejected this system, less concerned with commercial success. They prioritized creative autonomy and were patient in finding their audiences. Right, so check this out. The Grapes of Wrath. So, the Grapes of Wrath were formed in 1983. Its founding members met as teenagers in Kelowna, British Columbia. The band experimented with home movies and punk rock influences and ignored advice to play more covers. September Bowling Green, The Grapes of Wrath, first full-length album was popular on alternative radio and much music. It was soon followed by an international breakthrough with Now and Again. The band achieved mainstream success while maintaining its creative independence. Right, so next we've got the Cowboy Junkies. Cowboy Junkies recorded the Trinity session in a Toronto church in 1987 around a single microphone. With its slow tempo, quiet sound, and emotive sensibility, the album became an indie hit. The Trinity session also received critical praise. Cowboy Junkies went on to sell millions of records, but their commitment to artistic autonomy remains central to their music. So check this out. This is Cowboy Junkies' drum skin. Drummer Peter Timmons hand-painted this drum skin. It was part of his touring kit in the late 1980s and early 90s. You can see that there is a handprint on this guitar. I definitely remember these guys, the Northern Pikes. New wave and alternative rock were not common in Saskatchewan when the Northern Pikes were getting started. The indie rockers forged their own path through original songwriting, independent recording, and creative self-promotion. The Pikes were popular on college radio and released 2 independent albums before signing with Virgin Records in 1986. They soon gained mainstream attention with hits such as Teenland, She Ain't Pretty, and Things I Do for Money. I was obsessed with the song She Ain't Pretty when I was a kid. So, Vancouver compilation LP. This compilation album features many bands from Vancouver's early punk scene, including DOA, Subhumans, The K-Tels, and Pointed Sticks. So posters from the Smiling Buddha Cabaret. The Smiling Buddha was a hotspot for Vancouver's thriving punk and alternative scenes in the late 1970s and 80s. Wow, look at this display. So this is Voivod. Voivod is a heavy metal band with an eclectic style from Jonquière, Quebec. Formed in 1982, the band brought metal and prog rock together in albums such as Dimension Hetros and Nothing Face. Its lyrics explore science fiction, the Cold War, and post-apocalyptic themes. While its music is marked by dissonant chords and abrupt rhythm changes, Voivod continues to subvert norms in the metal world, prioritizing creative freedom in their art. The Dish Rags. The Dish Rags were one of the first all-female punk bands in North America. They started out as teenagers in the late 1970s in Saanich, British Columbia. The band soon moved to Vancouver and became part of a mutually supportive fringe punk community. The Dish Rags resisted pressure to sexualize their image and focused instead on their art. By 1979, they were opening for big international acts such as The Clash and Bo Diddley. Thank you for joining me on this tour of the retro music exhibit here at the Canadian Museum of History in Gatineau, Quebec. I hope you enjoyed it. Please note that this exhibit is available to see until January 18th, 2026. And if you're unable to come see it in person, I'm glad I was able to show it to you via video. If you enjoy videos about things to do in Canada, please subscribe to my channel. Until next time, happy travels!